Welcome to How to Speak Fluent English podcast, presenting your hosts Amora and Ryan.
Welcome to the How to Speak Fluent English podcast. Today, we're plunging into a really fascinating part of language.
Yeah. We're looking at those colorful phrases, the ones that often make you scratch your head a bit, where the meaning isn't just, word plus word plus word.
Exactly. Idioms. They're kind of like the secret handshake of English, aren't they? Packed with hidden meanings, cultural bits that, well, native speakers just use.
They really are. And we've got some great material here. Sort of a guide, really. Examples, insight into common English idioms.
The goal being to help you feel more confident using them, understanding them in conversation.
Right. So our mission today is basically to crack the code on these expressions. We'll dig into what they really mean, how they actually work in everyday English, why they're important for sounding fluent, and just, generally explore why language has all these amazing non-literal gems.
It's fascinating stuff. Think of this as your chance to get more comfortable with language that works on a different level, moving past just the dictionary meaning to how people actually talk. Ready to jump in?
Okay, so let's start with a few idioms that, well, they often come up when we talk about health. Here's a very common, quite polite way to say you're not feeling well. Under the weather. This is incredibly common, especially among native speakers. It just means you're feeling a bit ill, maybe a little unwell, not quite yourself.
It's a wonderfully vague phrase, isn't it? Useful when you don't want to list your symptoms. No need to mention the sniffles or the headache.
Exactly. It covers that general feeling of being slightly down, maybe getting a cold, just not feeling 100%. Mostly physical, although I guess you could sometimes use it for feeling emotionally low. But physical illness is the main meaning.
It's the perfect phrase for calling in sick, perhaps.
Definitely. You'd call or email your boss and say, "Hi, I woke up feeling a bit under the weather this morning, so I won't be coming in today."
Or describing someone who's been unwell for a bit.
Yeah. Paul's been under the weather all week with some kind of bug.
You can use it to talk about recovery, too.
Sure. I was feeling really under the weather yesterday, but thankfully, I'm feeling much better today.
Very useful. Okay, from feeling unwell to describing things that are, well, maybe too common, we have a dime a dozen.
Right. Have you heard this one used much? It means something is very common, easy to find, and because of that, it's not considered particularly valuable or special.
The origin is interesting, right? A dime being a low-value coin in the US, if you could buy a dozen of something for just a dime, it implies they were incredibly cheap and absolutely everywhere.
So it suggests a lack of uniqueness, an oversupply almost. When something's a dime a dozen, it means there are tons of them, so any single one isn't that special. Often used to imply you need something more distinctive to stand out.
Exactly. It can apply to physical objects, certain skills, even types of jobs or businesses that seem to be everywhere.
Like if you're in a big city.
You might say, honestly, Eric's souvenir shops are a dime a dozen in the tourist district.
Or talking about certain job skills that used to be rare but aren't anymore. Years ago, knowing basic web design was a valuable skill, but now those skills are kind of a dime a dozen. You need more advanced expertise.
It can apply to products too, like cheap electronics.
Yeah, definitely. You can find cheap plastic phone chargers everywhere these days. They're a dime a dozen.
Okay, moving from things that are common to taking on too much. A great cautionary phrase. Bite off more than you can chew.
The image here is so clear, isn't it? Literally trying to eat a piece of food that's just too big for your mouth. As an idiom, it means you're trying to do something too difficult, or you've taken on way too much responsibility, more work than you can realistically handle.
It's a warning, essentially, or maybe an observation after the fact. Someone's overloaded themselves, taken on a task or a project that's just beyond their current capacity. Time, energy, skills.
Right, and the likely result is stress, difficulty, maybe even failing at the task because they're just spread too thin or overwhelmed.
It's about knowing your limits, basically.
Exactly. So if a colleague is talking about starting a master's degree while working full-time and raising 2 young kids,
Wow.
you might gently say, "That sounds incredibly demanding. Are you sure you're not biting off more than you can chew?"
Or admitting you made that mistake yourself.
"Yeah, I really bit off more than I can chew when I volunteered to lead 3 different committees at the same time."
It can apply to learning things too, right?
Right.
Like trying to do too much at once.
Oh, for sure. Trying to learn guitar, Spanish, and advanced calculus all in your first semester? That sounds like biting off more than you can chew.
It can apply to learning new things too, right?
Right, like trying to do too much at once. Good advice.
Okay, talking of tackling tasks, sometimes people try to find the easiest way, maybe too easy. This brings us to cut corners.
Right, to cut corners means doing something in the quickest, maybe the cheapest or easiest way possible, but often at the expense of quality or thoroughness.
Exactly. It implies you're skipping necessary steps, maybe using substandard materials or just rushing through something without proper care. Usually to save time or money, it suggests a compromise on standards. Sometimes maybe it's okay for minor things, but often it carries a negative meaning, implying the result will be flawed or might cause problems later because the job wasn't done properly.
Precisely. It's often used in situations where quality, safety, or accuracy really shouldn't be compromised, like in building or repairs.
Classic example, the reason the roof leaks is because the previous owners cut corners on the repairs. They used cheap sealant. Or in an office setting, maybe preparing a report.
Yeah, rushing through research or skipping proofreading. He tried to cut corners on the financial report, and now there are several errors we need to fix.
Even just doing chores around the house. Sure. If you cut corners when you're washing the dishes, you'll just leave grease behind. Better to do it right the first time.
True. Okay, from taking shortcuts to being the opposite, really, efficient and alert, we have the idiom on the ball.
To be on the ball means you're alert, you're competent, you think quickly, and you respond well to situations. You're basically sharp and effective.
It's a real compliment, isn't it? It suggests someone is organized, pays attention to detail, performs consistently well, like they're keeping their eye on the ball in a game, ready for anything.
Exactly. It describes someone who's performing at a high level, really focused, managing things efficiently. They know what's going on.
So you might describe a really efficient assistant.
Our new project manager is fantastic, really on the ball. She anticipates problems before they even happen. Or you might use it as advice.
You need to stay on the ball during this negotiation. They're likely to try some tricky tactics.
It can also apply to being knowledgeable about something specific.
Yes, when it comes to the latest software updates, Sarah is always on the ball. She knows all the changes.
Great. Now, a phrase that serves as a warning against damaging, important relationships. Burn bridges.
Ah, yes. This idiom means to damage a relationship or maybe a connection or opportunity so badly that it's really difficult, maybe even impossible, to go back to it later.
The image is powerful, literally burning down the bridge behind you so there's no way back across the river.
Exactly. It's a strong warning against acting, impulsively or destructively towards people or organizations you might need or want to connect with again in the future. It implies causing irreparable harm, often through anger, insults, or really unprofessional behavior.
It comes up a lot when people leave jobs, doesn't it?
Very common context. Even if you hated the job, the advice is always leave professionally. Don't burn your bridges. You never know when you might need a reference or run into those people again in your industry.
Or maybe after a big argument between friends or colleagues. He was so angry when he quit that he sent a furious email to everyone. He completely burned his bridges with that company. It really underscores thinking about the long-term consequences of how you treat people.
Absolutely. Be careful what you say in the heat of the moment. You don't want to burn bridges you might regret losing.
Okay, shifting from relationships to managing emotions, especially negative ones like stress or anger, we have blow off steam. This means to release pent-up energy or strong emotions like stress, frustration, anger, usually by doing some kind of activity.
The image is like a steam engine, right? Letting out excess pressure so it doesn't explode.
Exactly. It's about finding a healthy or at least effective outlet for those intense feelings, letting them out so you can calm down and relieve the tension before it gets overwhelming.
The activity is usually something active or distracting.
It suggests doing something specifically for that purpose: emotional release, stress reduction.
Precisely. So after a really difficult meeting at work,
You might feel wound up.
yeah, you might say, "Whew, that was intense. I need to go for a run later just to blow off some steam."
It doesn't have to be physical activity, though, does it?
No, not necessarily. Sometimes when I'm really frustrated, I just put on some loud music and sing along at the top of my lungs to blow off steam.
Or playing video games, maybe?
Right, and it can be used as general advice too. Look, if you're feeling that stressed, you need to find a healthy way to blow off steam before it starts affecting you negatively.
Good advice. Okay, let's move into situations involving failure, starting with quite a dramatic one. Go down in flames.
Ooh, yeah, this is vivid. It describes a failure that is spectacular, complete, and often very public, like an airplane crashing and burning. Total ruin.
So it's not just a quiet fizzle, it's a big dramatic collapse. When something goes down in flames, it failed badly, visibly, maybe even catastrophically.
Exactly. It implies the failure was total, dramatic, and probably happened quite quickly, like a fiery end. So a big, ambitious project that was poorly managed might go down in flames when it completely fails to deliver and gets shut down amidst negative press. Or a new business idea that just doesn't take off.
They invested everything they had, but their startup went down in flames within 6 months. Even a presentation or a proposal in a meeting.
Yes, he pitched his radical new strategy to the board, but it went down in flames. They rejected it outright.
Okay, from dramatic failure to the act of simply giving up, we have throw in the towel.
This means to abandon in the struggle, to admit defeat, basically to quit.
And the origin is from boxing, right?
That's right. When a boxer's corner team felt their fighter couldn't continue safely, they would literally throw a towel into the ring as a signal to the referee to stop the fight. It meant surrender. So the idiom signifies reaching that point where you decide, okay, I can't keep fighting this. I give up. You're acknowledging defeat and stopping the effort.
It's about surrender, usually when you feel you have no more chance of winning or succeeding. So, if someone's been trying for ages to fix a really complex problem without success,
They might eventually sigh and say, I've tried everything I can think of. I think it's time to throw in the towel on this one. Or in a competition where one side is hopelessly behind,
even though they were losing by 30 points, the team refused to throw in the towel and played hard right until the final whistle. So, it highlights that moment of surrender, often contrasted with perseverance.
exactly. You might encourage someone by saying, don't throw in the towel yet. Let's try one more approach.
Okay, from giving up to doing the opposite, putting in extra effort, we have go the extra mile.
When you go the extra mile, You do more than what's expected or required. You make a special, additional effort, showing extra dedication or care.
It's about exceeding the baseline, the minimum standard, putting in that extra time, energy, or thought to get a better result, provide better service, or just show you really care.
It's often used as praise for someone's exceptional effort or as encouragement to aim higher.
Very common in customer service contexts.
Absolutely. The hotel staff really went the extra mile to make our stay comfortable, arranging transport and booking restaurants for us. And in work or academic settings, if you want to stand out in this company, you need to be willing to go the extra mile on important projects.
It applies personally too, right? Helping friends or family.
Definitely. She always goes the extra mile for her friends, like baking a cake for everyone's birthday.
Lovely. Now, an idiom for when something is intensely annoying, drives someone up the wall.
This means to make someone extremely irritated, annoyed, or frustrated really get on their nerves.
The image is great at feeling so agitated you feel like you could literally climb the walls to escape.
Exactly. It conveys a really high level of annoyance. Something or someone is grating on you so much, it's making you feel restless, maybe even a bit frantic with frustration.
So, what kind of things drive people up the wall?
Oh, lots of things. Repetitive noises are a common one. That car alarm going off all night is driving me up the wall. Or annoying habits.
His constant clicking his pen during meetings drives me up the wall. It can apply to situations too, not just people or noises.
Yes, trying to navigate this confusing website with all its pop-ups is driving me up the wall.
I can relate to that. Okay, moving from irritation to acting too soon. We have jump the gun.
This means doing something too early, before the proper time, before you're supposed to, or before you have all the information.
And the origin is literal again, from athletics.
Yes, from track races. If a runner starts running before the starting pistol, the gun, is fired, they've jumped the gun. They started prematurely. So it means starting something too early, often out of eagerness or maybe impatience, and it usually leads to mistakes or having to redo things because you weren't ready or didn't wait for the signal.
Exactly. It's a caution against acting impulsively before the right moment. Like in a race, as you said, you get disqualified, right? But in everyday life, maybe planning a surprise.
Oh, okay. Don't mention the party venue in front of Sarah yet. You'll jump the gun and spoil the surprise. Or maybe in business? Making announcements too early.
Definitely. The company jumped the gun by announcing the new product line before manufacturing was even finalized. Got it. Okay. From acting too soon to suddenly losing your nerve, we have cold feet.
Ah, yes. To get cold feet means to suddenly lose your courage or confidence, to do something you had planned, especially right before you're supposed to do it, usually because you get nervous or scared.
It's that feeling of sudden doubt, apprehension that makes you hesitate or even want to back out completely from a commitment or a planned action, especially if it's something big or daunting. The phrase links that fear to a physical feeling.
Exactly. It's very strongly associated with weddings, isn't it?
That's the most famous example, yeah. The wedding was all set, but apparently the bride got cold feet the night before. But it really applies to any situation where fear makes you hesitate just before doing something significant, like public speaking.
Oh, absolutely. I practiced my presentation for weeks, but right before going on stage, I got terrible cold feet. Or maybe taking a personal risk. I was all set to ask for that promotion, but when I walked into my boss's office, I got cold feet and just talked about the weather.
Relatable. Okay, from losing courage to being perfectly accurate, we have hit the nail on the head.
This is a great one. It means you've said or done something that is exactly right, perfectly accurate or spot on for the situation.
Like hitting a nail cleanly with a hammer, driving it straight in.
Precisely. It's used to praise someone for a really accurate observation, a correct diagnosis of a problem, or a perfect summary. It means they've understood or expressed the absolute core truth of the matter.
It's high praise for insight and accuracy.
Definitely. So if someone figures out the real reason why a project is delayed,
You'd say, yes, that's exactly. You've hit the nail on the head. The real bottleneck is the approval process. Or if someone perfectly summarizes a feeling or situation.
when she said we all needed more clarity on our roles, she really hit the nail on the head there.
It's a fantastic way to show strong agreement.
Couldn't have put it better myself. You absolutely hit the nail on the head there.
Great. Okay, shifting now to finding the good in a bad situation, blessing in disguise. This phrase describes something that seems bad or unlucky at first, but actually turns out to have unexpectedly good consequences later on.
It's about that hidden benefit, right? The initial misfortune is the disguise for the eventual blessing.
Exactly. It encourages you to look beyond the immediate negative and consider that sometimes setbacks can push you in a better direction or open up unforeseen opportunities. It is often used when looking back at a past difficulty.
Oh yes, getting laid off was devastating at the time, but it pushed me to go back to school and find a career I truly love. It was a blessing in disguise. Or even smaller things like travel mishaps.
Missing our flight felt awful, but the next flight was cheaper and less crowded. Plus, we discovered a great cafe near the airport, so kind of a blessing in disguise. It can apply to learning from mistakes, too.
Definitely. Failing that first driving test was embarrassing, but it made me practice much harder and become a safer driver in the long run. A blessing in disguise, really.
From hidden benefits to avoiding the main topic, beat around the bush. This means discussing something indirectly, evasively, without getting to the main point, avoiding the core issue.
Not being direct, circling the topic instead of tackling it head on.
The origin you mentioned before about hunters is interesting.
Yeah, beating the bushes to flesh out game rather than going straight in, it perfectly captures that indirect approach. It often happens when someone's uncomfortable, maybe delivering bad news, or just hesitant.
So if you need information from someone and they keep talking about irrelevant details, you might eventually say, okay, I appreciate the background, but please stop beating around the bush and just tell me what the decision was, or observing someone's communication style.
He always beats around the bush when he needs to ask for a favor. It takes him ages to get to the point.
It's also about efficiency sometimes, right? Yes, we're short on time in this meeting, people. No beating around the bush. Let's address that's the main problem directly. Okay, from avoiding difficult topics to perhaps dwelling too much on past ones. Cry over spilled milk.
This idiom advises against getting upset or complaining about a loss, mistake, or misfortune that has already happened and cannot be changed.
The image is simple. You spill milk, it's gone. You can't unspill it.
Exactly, so being upset about it is pointless. It encourages acceptance of things that are in the past and irreversible. Focus on what you can do now, not on lamenting what's already done.
So if you make a small error with minor consequences,
Someone might say, okay, you dropped the cake. It's a shame, but hey, no use crying over spilled milk now. Let's see if we can salvage it or make something else.
when reflecting on a past mistake or missed chance,
I really wish I'd handled that conversation differently, but what's done is done. No point crying over spilled milk now.
it's about recognizing when regret becomes unproductive.
Precisely. Okay, so you failed the quiz. It happens. Learn from it, but don't sit here crying over spilled milk. Focus on setting for the next one.
Good advice. Okay, let's look at an idiom for encouragement. Keep your chin up.
This is a lovely, simple phrase used to tell someone to stay brave, positive, and hopeful, especially when they're going through a difficult time.
A physical instruction is key, right? Hold your head high. Don't look down in despair.
Exactly. It's a verbal pat on the back, a reminder to maintain hope and confidence even when things are tough. It offers support and encourages resilience.
So if a friend is feeling down about something, you'd absolutely say, I know it's rough right now, but keep your chin up. Things will get better. Or in sports, after a disappointing result.
The coach might rally the team. Okay, we lost today, but keep your chins up. We learn from this and come back stronger.
It's just a general expression of hopeful encouragement.
Life throws curveballs sometimes. Just remember to keep your chin up and face the challenges.
Okay, next, an idiom about missed chances. Miss the boat.
This phrase means you've lost an opportunity because you were too slow to act, you hesitated too long, or you just didn't take action when you should have.
The boat sailed and you're left standing on the dock. The chance is gone.
Exactly. It signifies losing out on something potentially valuable because you weren't timely or decisive enough. The opportunity presented itself, but you didn't seize it, and now it's past.
It really highlights the importance of acting when the time is right.
Definitely. So if there was a great sale on something you wanted,
I kept meaning to buy that coat during the sale. I waited too long, and now it's back to full price. I really missed the boat.
or applying for things with deadlines.
He wanted to join the study abroad program, but he submitted his application a day late and missed the boat.
It can be about bigger life chances too. Looking back, I had a chance to invest in that company when it first started. I hesitated, and now it's huge. Definitely feel like I missed the boat on that one.
Ouch. Okay, an idiom about sharing the same situation, especially a difficult one. In the same boat.
This phrase means you're experiencing the same unpleasant, difficult, or challenging circumstances as other people.
It emphasizes that shared experience, that common hardship. When you say you're in the same boat, you're creating a connection based on facing similar problems.
Exactly. It fosters a sense of solidarity, mutual understanding. You're not alone in whatever difficulty you're facing. Others are right there with you. So if a whole class is finding an assignment really hard,
One student might say to another, don't worry if you're struggling with this essay. Literally, everyone is finding it tough. We're all in the same boat.
or if colleagues are facing uncertainty at work, maybe budget cuts.
They might say to each other, well, at least we're all in the same boat dealing with this anxiety about the restructuring. Wow, okay, that was quite a tour, wasn't it? We've covered so much ground: relationships, work, decisions, secrets, effort, failure, support, all through these fascinating little phrases.
We really have, and understanding them, it really does open up another level of English, doesn't it? It allows for communication that's more nuanced, more natural, definitely more colorful. They're like tiny capsules of shared culture and experience.
It's amazing how they often start from something really concrete, like dancing or building or sailing, and then take on these rich metaphorical meanings. They add so much texture to the language.
They really do, and this just shows how vital these non-literal expressions are if you want to achieve real fluency.
So what's the big picture here? Maybe it's realizing that language is so much more than just words and grammar. It's about shared ideas, shared images. These idioms connect us because they tap into common human experiences, the frustration of being stuck, the joy of connection, the effort of heart work.
That's a great way to put it. Mastering them isn't just memorizing lists, it's about tuning into that shared understanding.
So the best way to learn them?
Listen for them, notice them in conversations, in movies, in books, see how they're used, and then, be brave and try using them yourself. You might surprise yourself how quickly they start to feel natural.
Excellent advice. Well, thanks for joining us into the world of English idioms. We really hope it gave you some valuable insights and maybe a few new phrases to play with.